It's time for the Fourth and Fantasy podcast. Right here, right now. Let's go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 5th episode of the Fourth and Fantasy podcast. My name is Riley Burnett, and this week I was not only able to get one interview, but two. So we will have two guests joining us today. And also on top of that, not only will it not be a phone recording this time, I was actually able to go talk to these guys in person. I actually just got some wireless mics off of Amazon. They're like $20, but nevertheless, we tested them out. They seem to work okay, and I think they don't sound too bad. So you all will be hearing that very shortly. It is currently Friday, October 24th, and I know I am a little delayed getting this out, so I definitely apologize. But quick recap, because we recorded these interviews yesterday. The Chargers ended up beating the Vikings last night on Thursday Night Football 37-10. Justin Herbert, he had 3 passing touchdowns. Lab McConkey had 88 yards and a touchdown. And we even saw maybe a new name that some of you are unfamiliar with in, gosh, it's so unfamiliar, I don't even know. I'm going to probably mispronounce this. Aronde Gadsden, I believe, is the pronunciation there. Tight end for the Chargers, 5 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. So definitely some good offensive action from the Chargers last night. The Vikings can't exactly say the same. Carson Wentz only passing for 144 yards, but Justin Jefferson still able to bring in 7 catches for 74, so not too terrible. But I'm going to quit blabbing on about what I'm talking about, and I'm going to send it over to this double interview. The first guy and the new guy that you all are probably unfamiliar with is Trae Zimmerman. He was a very good friend of mine in high school, and he was a very good athlete, so he knows a lot not only about football but sports in general. He's very tapped into the professional sports world, and I mean, I would even be willing to say he's probably still a good athlete to this day, I would think. And another guy that joined us and was able to chime in a few times is someone who's been on this show before. It's Andrew Smith. We know him as Smitty. We probably call him Smitty during this recording. But either way, we're going to see how these new wireless mics sound that I got off Amazon. And I'm going to send it over so you guys can hear what we had to talk about last night. Here with Trae Zimmerman. Trae, nice. Oh, Smitty's also back. He's back. Here. He's ready to chime in. We might have to go around the horn here a little bit, call on him a few times to see what happens. But Trae, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm not doing too bad. Happy to be here. Trae, I know we've talked, and obviously you've kind of understand a little bit how this goes, but I always start off, I ask people kind of about their experience watching football and playing fantasy football. So just tell me about, how long you've done that.
Well, I was in high school around my sophomore year, and Smitty was like, hey, let's get into fantasy. And, I just started watching football from then on, and that's how I got into it. And now I'm addicted to gambling. Not good for the people out there, not good. And, yeah, that's it. I've just been watching since like sophomore year.
I mean,
I don't really know much about the rules of it, but I know players.
Well, that's the important thing. And I mean, especially when it comes to fantasy, you really don't have to go into these deep analytics. Of course, you have your crazy people out there who like to, and you don't even have to know any of the defensive players at all, to be honest, which, makes it kind of nice. But I guess we'll jump right into what I have here. Start off with a guy. I know you've been playing the past couple of years, so a guy that you're definitely familiar with how good he's been. But the first guy I want to touch on is Christian McCaffrey. He had 39.1 fantasy points, 24 carries for 124 and 2 touchdowns, and also 72 receiving yards. And he's really been, I put here, a league winner so far. He's actually first in points per game with 26.7. So tell me about, what you think not only about Christian McCaffrey maybe this year or this past week, but your whole time playing fantasy. He's been one of the top guys.
Like when I started out playing, like Christian McCaffrey was like the guy, whatever. And in the past few years, he's been hurt. Like Smitty, he has him on his team right now. And he was like, I'm taking a big chance because he's been hurt. Like, we don't know if he's going to get hurt again, whatever. And right now, he's playing very, very good. So
he's kind of like one of those guys like Joe Burrow where, I mean, if he's out there and if he's able to play like every game in a season, then obviously the stats are going to be good. And I mean,
Yeah.
his team's going to do good. But like you said, it's one of those guys you kind of take a risk with. I know in the league I am the commissioner of, he's taken 8th overall, I think. He's in the first round, which I know for some people they're like, I don't know if I want to take CMC in the first round, but obviously that's paid off so far.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
The next guy I have on here is Jamar Chase, who obviously has been through a quarterback crisis with the Bengals so far this year, going from Jake Browning, now Joe Flacco coming out, threw it to him 23 times last Thursday.
It's crazy.
But he had 16 catches for 161 and 1 touchdown. So I guess the question is, do you think that having Joe Flacco can kind of make Jamar Chase get back to where he was last year?
Yes. I mean, so Shane, my brother, he's a big Browns guy, and their wide receivers aren't very good. I mean, their defense is why they win, I guess, 2 or 3 games this year. And Joe Flacco, I mean, he throws the thing. And Jamar, he's down there somewhere. I mean, just throw it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, last week it showed, obviously. So, yeah.
I think Flacco, which like you said, I mean, he has so much experience. He's one of those guys. He has no reason to be scared at this point in his career, like to turn it loose, like you said. So, I mean, he's going to take those shots. And, I mean, but not only that, he was also able to connect with, like, Jamar and T a few times, like on those shorter passes. But, he has that experience. He's so smart. And I actually heard him talking in one of his interviews last week. He said he was a little nervous to throw the ball to get those guys because he knows how good they are. Right. But obviously, with him having so much experience and played with so many great receivers, and obviously, like, even Chase, he might like top the list out of guys that Flacco's been able to play with. But
like Joe, he was like, like he said, he was nervous to throw to him. But like once he's like figured out, it's like, okay, it's not so bad. Like he was surprised because he threw a few balls to obviously 23 passes to him?
Yeah,
to Jamar, and like Jamar didn't catch a couple of them that he probably should have, and like Joe's in shock, like
that one gift from last week.
Yeah,
I saw on that replay. I mean, it was a shorter pass. Like it would have been one of his less impressive catches of the night, and then let it go through his hands. But I mean, that shows how much Flacco thinks of Jamar, even though they've only been teammates for 2 weeks ish.
Yep.
The last guy on here, Smitty's right next to us, but the other Smitty, Devontae Smith, he had 9 receptions on 11 targets for 183 and 1 touchdown. Now, I talked about this a few weeks ago. It might have actually been with you, Smitty. We talked about how the Eagles pass game really hasn't done a whole lot this year. No, he's actually giving the mic over to Smitty now, so we're going to get his input a little bit. But, we talked about this Eagles pass game really hasn't got going. And up until this past week, I mean, not only did Devontae Smith put up a huge stat line, but I mean, A.J. Brown didn't do bad. So what do you think that means for the Eagles offense to kind of be able to get going through the air?
Well, I think Sirianni knew there's only so much weight that Saquon can handle. And, going through the first few weeks, he was, as you would expect Saquon to be. But I think that they need to have a little bit more of a wrinkle. And with having Devontae and AJ, 2 of the very, I'd say maybe behind T and Jamar, probably the better duo of wide receivers in the NFL. So he was due. I think it was about that time for him to have a game. And I guess, obviously Heisman winner at Alabama. So high standards, and I think he'll continue to improve.
The last guy I have on here that's kind of been huge, I actually don't have his stats, but just overall as a league winner throughout this year so far has been Jonathan Taylor. He's actually right behind McCaffrey at number 2 there. He's had 25.6 points per game. So I think it's kind of interesting. The top 2 guys have been running backs this year. Normally we see in the modern NFL, these guys are throwing it all over the place. But what do you think that says maybe about these 2 guys to, be first and second in points per game?
Well, I know we did talk about it a few weeks ago about how well JT has been playing. And I believe that this is the stat that after this past week, that is his 3rd game with 3 touchdowns. And I do have his stats right here. 131 carries, a second in the league, 697 yards, first in the league, 10 touchdowns, first in the league.
It's not bad.
And obviously, again, like bringing Danny Dimes in, there was a big question mark where he was doubted. And the Colts are playing some very, very good football, and I don't see him slowing down anytime soon.
That's something we also touched on, I guess, a few weeks ago. Like you said, bringing Daniel Jones, you really don't know what's going to happen with that offense. But we talked about it then. We're like, okay, they're doing well, but it's still, this early part of the season. But, they've kind of still been able to maintain that, and we're nearing the halfway point now. And I think that says a lot, not only about, guys like JT and Daniel Jones, but also the coaching staff in Indianapolis.
Absolutely, and they've definitely figured it out. And at the end of the day, it's about putting the W on the win, like having another one in the win column. Obviously, us fantasy managers, we love to see the stats, but in Indianapolis right now, they're just trying to win football games, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
So, and I honestly, again, like you said, before the season, we had no idea what to expect. But I'm rooting for them. I hope that they can make a run and continue to prove all the doubters wrong.
Yep, I agree with you. So moving on to the bad here, I got a few maybe things that aren't so great. We're actually going to toss it back over to Trae here for a little bit, maybe get some more Smitty action coming soon. But first guy I want to talk about, gee whiz, Tua Tagovailoa, or as some people have called him, Tua turn the ball over. Negative 1.4 points, 3 interceptions, bench for rookie Quinn Ewers, and you get blown out by the Browns.
Yeah.
And
the Browns.
We just talked about, you just said that defense wins them game, which obviously kudos to that Browns defense. They're incredible, forcing those 3 interceptions. But Tua.
I think, you can blame it on the weather that was there, sure. But Quinn Ewers came in, he was 5 for 8.
Yeah.
53 yards. That's, not bad for,
No.
for him
Definitely.
coming in. And, obviously, Quinshon Junkins, he rushed for, 80-something yards and had 25 carries.
Yeah.
And obviously he had 3 tuds. But, I think Tua, they should probably just go ahead and try out Quinn Ewers.
Yeah. Now, obviously, and this is something maybe you could throw it over to Smitty if you might not know as much about it, but me and Smitty remember Quinn Ewers coming out of high school. Obviously, huge bomb for Ohio State to land him. Obviously, never really panned out, but at Texas, and especially you look at Texas this year, and Arch Manning hasn't been his best, which I know I'm kind of getting a little off topic, but still, they obviously haven't been their best. And I think Texas fans last year were pretty dissatisfied with Quinn Ewers. And looking back, they really shouldn't have been.
No.
He set him up for success, and he proved that while he might not have the mobility that a guy like Arch Manning or even Tua now has, but he can get the ball and put it where it needs to be.
Yeah, take it back to like the Ohio State and Texas last year. I don't think Arch Manning, he could have done better, but like looking at him right now, I'm like, what has he done better than? I would say probably running the ball.
Yeah.
But better than Quinn Ewers.
Right. And I think, I hate to sit here and bash on Texas fans because I don't have a problem, but they were harsh on Quinn Ewers last year and excited for him to either A, transfer, which they kind of thought was the realistic option, or B, go to the NFL Combine and enter the draft. But, looking back at it now, maybe things weren't so bad, and he could be that kind of that opt-out option that could either, work out for the Dolphins or even, save the job of Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels, he has to make that decision. Be like, hey, Tua, you're done. You're going to get benched this game.
Yeah.
I would, for the Dolphins, I would say bench Tua just to see how it goes. It's not, they're 1-6.
Yeah. What do you got to lose at this point?
You have nothing else to lose.
And I think this kind of goes hand in hand with Tua, but Jalen Waddle also only had 2.5 points. Now, obviously, when Tyreek went down with a rather gruesome injury, which I obviously hate to say about any player, but, Jalen Waddle's kind of that guy who everyone expected or knew this Dolphins team was going to win, he has to step up, and
Right.
he has to be that difference maker on that side of the ball. Obviously, we know how great Devon Achane is. He was still good last week, despite them only putting up 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, Jalen Waddle kind of fell flat, and that whole passing game really is just it's in pretty dire questioning right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the stats and like the receiving. Everybody has 2. 5 was Malik Washington, and then 1, 3, 3, 1. I mean, everybody was targeted that game. But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you have to try to bring in those other guys just to maybe either give that defense a different look and try to throw them off, or just bring out different guys who maybe just are hungrier to play and deserve those opportunities to get out there and make some plays. But moving on, and we'll quit bashing on the Dolphins. Travion Henderson, he's kind of yet to break out. I have on here, he only had a half a point this past week, and he's only had double-digit carries once this season, which I remember was against the Steelers. And this year, he only has 153 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, Smitty, we obviously got to watch Travion pretty much under a microscope all throughout college. I mean, even coming in as a freshman, he was fantastic. I remember that first game like it was yesterday that he played in. He was spectacular. But, I mean, if we were sitting here meeting with this Patriots coaching staff and offensive coordinator, like how do they need to get this guy involved?
That is a great question. And to be honest, I don't have the answer for him. If I was a part of that Patriots, which obviously, we know who the head coach is, and we know where he went or where he played at in college.
Right.
But after Travion starting out the year with a very long kickoff return, I thought the Patriots and the organization and fans would be absolutely drooling over picking Travion. But I know Ramondre is a very good back, but I feel like they should be splitting carries, or at least somewhat close to it, or even get Travion into the passing game more. I mean, we go back to the Texas game. And again, I'm sorry, Texas fans, but throwing a little screen pass. I mean, he can make a house call from anywhere, and Lord knows he can.
That's exactly what Chris Fowler said.
Yeah, he did say that. So I don't know. I feel like getting him more involved and the Patriots have had some success, and Drake May's a good QB. But I feel like that they need to add a few more wrinkles in there with Travion to keep their offense going.
Yeah, I think he just kind of provides. Obviously, he's not going to be that workhorse, kind of like a guy like Judkins was last year, just comparing Ohio State backs, I guess. He might not be that workhorse sort of bigger back, but he's a guy that you can bring in, every 4th down set and, let him make an explosive play, get out to the edge, or maybe break off one every once in a while.
Absolutely. And again, I think just maybe giving different looks to defenses, which I'm not sure who they play this upcoming week.
I'll be able to tell you here in a second.
But just showing different looks can definitely impact the game, especially if you're going through a game where maybe like the first quarter, first half is not going as well moving the ball. And obviously your offense can be the other team's offense if you're not moving the ball and they're getting good field position on multiple punts. But who you find out?
I did find out. We actually have a showdown of the 2 Ohio State running backs from last year.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. So
1 p.m. on Fox for those wondering.
Okay.
But,
well,
yeah.
So that'll be another game where that D line is crazy, and if Ramondre's not moving the ball, you're gonna have to do a couple wrinkles with Travion, and hopefully they can get some better success than what the Dolphins did. But we'll find out.
Another thing that kind of, I guess, worries me with a guy like Ramondre, obviously we know he's had a fumble problem, and it started last year and has kind of carried over into this year, we've seen. And the Browns, obviously, one of the things you see them do a lot, they are trying to punch that ball out. Like, obviously they have a lot of big guys up front, but also, I mean, their corners and these defensive backs are sneaking down in the box, and they're doing the same thing. They're trying to force that ball out. So, does that make New England want to maybe go away from him a little more and give Henderson those extra chances?
Yeah, I mean, I would. And honestly, I think moving forward, the Browns have a lot of momentum from last week. And I think what would be a good look for the Patriots is to even do maybe what the Bengals just did against the Steelers, of doing quick slants, quicker plays to maybe chunk more of yards. But against that Browns defense, it's not easy, and
Right.
no one's really done that yet so far. But they have the potential to, though. Like the Patriots do have a good offense. They have a semi decent offensive line. I think that they can. But that'll definitely be a game I will want to be tuning in on Sunday.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to watch that one closely, and that'll definitely be, I'm sure, a topic of discussion to some extent next week. And the last two guys I have here, they had pretty much identical, well, almost exactly identical stat lines as Jameson Williams and George Kittle, which, as many of you know, George Kittle kind of returning from injury, so we got to give him maybe a little more leeway. But they both went 0 for 2, 2 targets, no receptions, and totaled 0 points.
Yeah, and I know we talked about, again, another guy we talked about a few weeks ago is JMO, and he's had his weeks and he's had his weeks. He's a bit of a wild card right now, and for fantasy owners, I personally don't have him. Don't freak out yet. Let it go week by week. If you need that flex option, maybe consider it. If you have another option, maybe keep him on the bench, but that's just for me. And for the 49ers, I mean, they've just been the hospital team of the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And with Brock Purdy still battling the injury, Mac Jones, he likes to throw the ball, and that might hit into my sleeper picks here, next segment, but we'll wait to get onto that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And like I said, Kittle coming back from injury, I mean, like I said, I put him on here, and I almost feel bad. Like, it's kind of like throwing a stray at him, maybe you could say, because I think he's absolutely due to obviously have a breakout. And I think it could be as soon as this week, potentially. And, obviously, this has been a weird year for tight ends, but he's one of those guys who's kind of been consistent these past few seasons when healthy, and I think he's going to be able to pick right back up here again this season.
I agree. I think, again, like, he's another guy that I wouldn't be worried about. I know he, like you said, he's been on the IR. He's been not, ever since week 1. But with all the injuries, especially at wide receiver, I think that he's potential to have a breakout game very soon once he can finally get his legs back under him.
Yeah. And I think it is time to move into that last segment you mentioned, the X Factor Player of the Week. I would say right now, this is subjective, obviously, but we're 3-1 overall, really only one bad pick. And Smitty, I know your pick a few weeks ago, Ladd McConkey. I remember he scored that game, had probably 90 or 100 yards. He played well, had at least 20 fantasy points, I think. And last week, Andrew Salisbury picked Cade Otton, who played solid, 7 catches on 9 targets for 65 yards of his own. Andrew also had a few other streamer picks that he brought in, and a lot of those guys didn't do too bad, so I think he was pretty helpful last week. But we're looking ahead. Smitty, what do you got for this week?
Well, I'm going to I don't want to go both ways here, but again, back on the 49ers, I think I'm going to have to go with Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
And I did have Kendrick Bourne, for my sleeper pick. I actually picked him up on my fantasy team a few weeks ago. Very first game, he actually did fantastic. Last week wasn't near as great, but I think that Juwan will get more of the targets this coming week, and I wish I could throw him in my lineup, but I don't. I do have Bourne, but that's going to be a game time decision for the Nakua Matata manager over here. But that's what I'm gonna roll with.
I like that name a lot, but yeah, I think Juwan Jennings, he's extremely explosive, and he's been one of those guys. I mean, I think it was last year in week 1 or week 2, he had like 151 yards for 3 touchdowns or something, and
something ridiculous.
He's one of those guys. He reminds me kind of J-Mo in that way, that he could just have one of those games where, I mean, he's averaging like 40 yards a catch, just breaking off, and just killing the team he's playing deep.
Yeah, and obviously we touched about how CMC's game was this past week.
I'll take my mic off and give it to you, sir.
However, like, he can't do it. Like, he can't keep putting all this on. And again, we talked about injuries with CMC these past few years. And I'm very glad that I have him on my fantasy team, but I don't want him to be getting hurt over trying to do too much. So I'm hoping that that Shanahan and the 49ers will maybe try to get that passing game in, and it'll open up more if CMC tries to run, a couple little option plays, little screen routes. But I'm gonna roll with Juwan Jennings. That's gonna be my pick this week.
I like it. Trae, moving over to you, other side of the table. What are we thinking?
Right here it says Andrew picked Cade Otton last week. I like it again for this week.
Again, double down.
Well, I was going to say George Kittle also because he came off injury, didn't play very good. Obviously, he only had he was 0 for 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And plus, you got to factor in it's National Tight End Day on Sunday.
And that's actually a point I was going to bring up, but I guess I'll go ahead and do it now. You were talking about before we started Tyler Warren, which obviously he's been great. So it's hard
awesome.
It's hard to say, oh, this guy's going to be an X factor when he's, so far expected to do well. But the way it seems you're looking at it, you think this is going to be a big week for tight ends. So kind of walk me through that.
So like the past couple years, even like I'm just saying for betting like purposes, like everybody's taking like the high like tight end, Dalton Kincaid. Well, this year's Tyler Warren. I'd say it, Kyle Pitts. Even though he sucks.
Yeah.
But like they score on National Tight End Day every single year.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah, it is weird, but it's like they want to lose money or something. I don't know. But yeah, like I like Tyler Warren though. I have him for fantasy, and like he might be my second most points, sadly.
Yeah.
Which he's put up the points. He has the yards and the touchdowns, and he's a rookie, correct?
Yeah.
He's gonna be he's good, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to say K. Dot again. Mike Evans is out.
Yeah.
And
we hate to see, obviously.
Yeah, especially for my fantasy.
And he's been a guy. I want to touch on Mike Evans real quick because I want to give him his flowers. He's been around for a while, you could say, for a wide receiver.
11 straight seasons of 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and like you said, these wide receivers, they're getting beat up, man. If they catch the ball, they're getting blasted. They could be hit. They could literally be hit in the back. And have no idea, and just they're worried about hold on to that ball, but. Mike Evans has been so reliable year in and year out for fantasy managers, and I think if we are at that point where he's ready to hang it up, which I want to think that we're not, and I hope we're not because I enjoy watching him play, and I also think he's a great mentor to Emeka Egbuka.
Oh yeah,
but
that was a steal for fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
But I think that Mike Evans, he deserves all the credit in the world. Obviously, I'm super happy he got that Super Bowl a few years ago when Brady and Gronk decided to come down to Tampa, and I think he's really done wonders for that franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's going to be Ibuka, and there's Sterling Shepard on the team, and obviously K. Dotton. Last week, whenever Mike Evans got hurt, K. Dotton was getting a lot of targets right after that.
Yeah.
And I can see Baker throwing it to him a lot, this Sunday. So
you kind of got a slew of tight ends who, you'd like to think are going to get in. So, not only for fantasy purposes, but as you mentioned, if you guys want to log into your DraftKings, maybe just keep that in the back of your minds.
I already got a bet out there. We're all good.
Well, I think
Dallas Goedert. Come on. It's got to be him.
But as far as the stuff I had written down, I think that about wraps it up, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Yes,
Pleasure
sir.
as always.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And just like that, we are back after that recording. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was very nice to be able to sit down with two guys that I was friends with throughout high school and, just talk football. We shot the breeze, obviously, before and after, and just, be able to hang out and spend that quality time together that I feel like we've kind of gone away from in today's world. But, that's a topic for another day, I guess. But that's all I have for us today. I thank you so much for listening if you've made it to this point. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And also don't be afraid to share the video with your friends if you think they might need a little fantasy football knowledge for this upcoming week in the NFL. Once again, I'm Riley Burnett. I thank you so much for joining us here on the Fourth and Fantasy Podcast.